here with Jesse Redniss from Mass Relevance, previously of USA Network. You're doing some really compelling things at Mass Relevance, and I think it's interesting that your company has come up in other conversations and other panel discussions.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, we use Mass Relevance. I'd love for you to explain or just talk about briefly maybe the genesis of your experience with, being a thought leader with, everything from second screen at USA, and how you've sort of mapped that into the really, tip of the spear stuff that you guys are doing at Mass Relevance and what that's all about.
Sure, yeah. So, for me personally, I kind of really got into building those experiences back when I first joined USA Network.
Mm-hmm.
That was back in 2005. They were right in the middle of going through a total rebrand of the network.
Oh, cool.
And they became what's known as the Characters Welcome Network. That was their brand mantra.
Right.
And the first big project I did, I was brought on board literally to redesign the entire web presence.
Right.
And they were, we were trying to conceive of something that was different, new, and groundbreaking that could also represent, what that Characters Welcome brand mantra really meant. And it didn't just mean the characters on the screen. It really had to do with the characters that are at home watching all the shows.
That's cool.
And so we actually launched a campaign called showusyourcharacter.com, which was a Flash-based site that invited our viewers to come and upload their photos and their videos and put themselves into an interactive map. And so when you went to showusyourcharacter.com, we literally had 300,000 fans and viewers that came, and you could scroll around this interactive map and see all the different people that created the community of viewers, those characters at home watching the network. And so, this was in the days before Facebook.
I was going to say, like social before social was social, right?
Yeah, so, 2006 was the real big year of social when everything kind of launched. And Facebook was around, but it was still private to schools at that point. Yeah. And so I think for us and for me personally, that was the big kind of tipping point of like, wow, it's not just about the stories that we're telling. It's about the stories that we're creating with these amazing people that are watching all of our shows.
I love that.
And so through the years, we really got into understanding our audience, and not just from the demographic standpoint, but also the psychographic of who they are, what they're doing, what kind of a fan are they, and really embracing that fandom and creating communities and engaging experiences that would allow them to become a 24/7 content creator and engager with our shows, not just a 42-minute viewer.
Such a progressive thought process for corporate America. I mean, that doesn't happen. I mean, I think what do you think it was about what was happening internally at USA and maybe externally within the digital world and our culture that made them realize that that's so important? That's really, really progressive thinking.
I think it was the support of the exec team. When you have an exec team that has a vision of put the lens on the people, then it becomes a lot more fun for guys like me. When I joined in, I was a director, and through the years I worked my way up. But I had a boss who was the same boss I had for 9 years, and we had a lot of trust in each other. And she was, we worked really well together. It's you have big ideas, and she sees it, and she's like, go with it. And so you kind of run with these things. You've got an amazing team, and then you've got amazing fans that are watching all the shows. So I think when you've got that perfect storm of opportunity, you have to sail in those seas, no matter what it's like.
I love it.
As social became more and more important as a marketing vehicle as well as an advertising vehicle, I think we were able to see efficiencies. We were able to see how we can actually not just talk to our fans, but talk with our fans. So the idea of created with, and I think that we're seeing this now, is massive. The collaborative economy, the maker movement. So we had a big idea of it's not brought to you by or sponsored by, it's created with, and it's created with our fans, created with our brands, and then created with our show writers and producers. So we actually put a system in place that took a lot of time to educate our writers and producers on what's happening with the fan base, what's going on in social. And then we create champions. Literally, it's the writers of our shows like loving what they were seeing with the fan bases and literally creating content for them, specifically to drive more viewership and engagement with their story.
Wow. compelling.
And it's a lot. It was a lot of fun. And now I think we're not the only network that did that, but you're seeing it across almost every network now, from HBO to Bravo, and The Voice with literally voice save and having the audience save certain people from getting kicked off the show, and you're seeing it across the BCS National Championship game on ESPN. And what's great about that, and I'll segue that right into Mass Relevance, is that Mass Relevance actually works with every single one of the networks that you had here today: Fox Sports, ESPN, the Viacom properties with Nickelodeon. Mass Relevance is actually supporting all of their social interaction and broadcast integration for social content.
Wow.
And so the power of being able to harness feedback and harness content being created by fans. Mass Relevance is doing that for so many different networks. So that was what was so appealing to me about the company,